Go on then. Looks like a good fish, that one. Lovely jubbly. Takes us up to 6:30 this session, and we've still got another night to go. It's not every day you have a session like this. You know, I consider it a real red letter session. So yeah, I'm over the moon with the results. I've had some incredible fish, and you never know. We've still got tonight and tomorrow morning, so let's see what happens. Well, not the typical way to start a film, but you actually joined me partway through a session. I always like to book a couple of days off, late April, early May. I think it's a really, really good time of year. And, Brad's come down and joined me on the third morning. As you can see from this 30-pound common, it's going pretty well. I've actually got another one in the sling as well. So what we'll do, we'll slip this one back, we'll take a look at that other one, then I'll talk you through where we are, what we're doing, things like that. Well, that was a lot bigger than expected. What a result. Just under 38 pound. This is one of the oldest simmos in the lake. Real breeze block of a fish. Buzzing with that. So the session's really starting to come together now. Spots are rocking. Hoping we can get a few more. Finally got a break in the weather. It has been horrific this morning. We've had torrential rain, really strong driving winds. It's been pretty horrible. Great for carp fishing, just pretty horrible to sit out in. We're here today at Roman Lake, which is my local syndicate at Stannick Lakes Fisheries. Now, I actually got here on Monday. We're now on Wednesday, so I'm a couple of days into the session. It was looking really, really good, so I thought, give Brad a call, get him down here, and do a piece to camera. Now, when I got here, conditions, they were great. Really strong, fresh southwesterly wind, which was blowing into a bay behind us here. It was warm, so the fish were up in the water, so it made fish spotting nice and easy to see. Now, on my first lap around, as I say, I got down to this bay and it was full of fish. So I rushed back to the car, got the kit loaded, and planned my attack from there. Now, the fish here, they're really, really wary of casting and spotting, so I just needed to be, you know, as quiet as I could, as stealthy as I could. I didn't really know what I was fishing over. Essentially, the fish were all shown along a reed bed. So I tied up a little solid bag, just some mini ultra mix, some salmon microfeed, and a little yellow Northern Special Mini. Pub chucked that across to the reeds, and very shortly after that pub chuck, we got a take. Now, it was a really, really surprising fish actually, because it was a fish that was presumed dead, a fish known as white tips. And it was a really big weight for it. It tipped scales around at 38.4, so I was buzzing with that. One of the fish that I really wanted, that I was gutted when I heard it died, but hey, apparently it hadn't. After that, I actually had a few more smaller ones in quick succession, and really started to get something going. Managed to locate a bit of a better spot along the reed bed, some fish into a nice little clay bowl. And that night, got a bit of bait in, some pellets, some crushed boilie. And yeah, then it really kicked off. So Next up, I had a mid-30 mirror. I think that one went £34 an ounces. Real powerhouse of a fish, took me ages to get it in. After that, had a lovely mid-30 scaly one, gorgeous fish. It was unfortunately one that I had before, so I just took a quick video of it as I unhooked it, just to show you guys, got that one straight back. And that brings us up to this morning, where you've seen the two fish that I had waiting for Brad in the retainer. So yeah, it has been a very, very good session so far. I think it's 5 30s and 2 nights fishing, so I'm over the moon with that one. And I've still got 2 nights left. Now, the heavens have just opened, so I'm gonna head back to the bivvy, do some prep for tonight, get some rigs tied up, get everything prepared, and hopefully the session will continue as it started. So the weather is terrible. I was cowering inside the bivvy to keep away from the rain and the wind. Just had a take for the rod that's in the bay. Feels tiny. There's a few real small stockies in here, and I think it's one of those. There it is, little yellow Northern Special Mini hanging out its mouth. Keep out them reeds. Well, a couple of years ago, the stock pond next door flooded and a load of these little beauties got in here. Gorgeous little fish, but tad annoying. The problem now is that when your alarm goes, you don't know whether you're going to have a 30 pounder or one of these. Keeps it interesting though. It's another bite. Shows fish are still in the area, so slip this one back, get another solid bag out there, and hopefully get this one's bigger brother. So we've not managed to get an awful lot of filming done today, mainly because of the weather. Also, there's not been an awful lot that's gone on. What I've done now, while it's quiet, because it seems like the fish have backed off a bit, I've brought the rods in, and I'm going to get a bit more bait prepped and get the rod sorted for the night ahead. So this rod in particular, over in this bay, I'm going to put the mark float across there, I'm going to pop it up, I can then walk around and put the bait in by hand. So then I'll come back over, we'll get that rod sorted and in place. I'll then move on to the other 2 rods, which are just 10 yards that way. They're fishing out in open water into the main bowl. So I'll get the rigs on them, get them all freshened up, and we'll put some bait over the top. I'll be spomming over them rods. That's me just finished getting the rods out now. Just finished spomming a bit of bait over these ones here. It's worth mentioning that this area of the lake actually gives me access to two very different bodies of water. So these two rods here, they're out in open water. I'm fishing hinges on these ones. The area's got a slight bit of silkweed on it. Really nice firm drop, but you do bring back a little bit of silkweed. I've got a spread of boilie and some large pellets over the top of that. And then in the bay behind me there, I'm fishing a single solid bag over towards some reeds with a little scatter and a bait around it. Now, we have been seeing a few fish show. They have been slightly further up the lake, but it's a really good sign. It has got quite a bit busier since this morning, and I think that pressure has pushed them out of this bay slightly. I'm hoping tonight though, as darkness falls and it all settles down, they start to drift back down on this wind. It was looking really, really good this morning. The fish were down here. So I'm really, really hoping they do the same tomorrow. The weather's turned out really nice now. The rain's finally stopped, which is lovely. It's a beautiful evening. The weather looks really, really good tomorrow. Nice warm southwesterly wind. Pressure's dropping. So yeah, fingers crossed we can grab one. Right, it's away. Just in the middle of brushing my teeth, typical. So apologies if I've got anything around my mouth. Screaming take. This is that rod in the bay, little solid bag. I've actually only just recently recast it. Probably within the last 10 minutes. Some geese got wrapped up in the rod tip. I felt like it had moved the lead, so I put it back out there. And what do you know? It's not really doing much, it's just staying deep. Loosen up that clutch a bit. I always worry when they're getting close, especially around the reeds and stuff, they're going to charge off last minute. So the wind's really hacking in here now, and with that sun out, them reeds were glowing. It's kiting round hard to that left. Such a lovely morning as well. I thought we'd pass bite time. I was getting a bit worried. And with having to recast, because it's quite a small bay, I thought I might push them out, but it just shows you, sometimes a reed chuck can be the thing that you need. Go on then. Looks like a good fish, that one. Oh yeah, that would do. Right, I'm gonna get this one unhooked and get that rod straight back out there. Really got to optimize this bite time. It's a small bay and the fish are in there at the minute. So yeah, get a rod back out there, see if we can get another one. So just thought I'd take this opportunity while I'm tying the bag up to talk you through what goes into my bag mix. Really simple mix. It's made up of 3 key ingredients, which is mini ultra mix, salmon micro feed and the krill meal. Mini ultra mix is perfect little pellet mix, great for the bags. Then the salmon micro feed really complements that. It's really fine, drops into all the gaps in the bag and just gives you a really tight solid bag. The krill meal, it's just a lovely little addition, adds some flavour to it, gives it that really sort of fishy feel. Inside that I'm just fishing one of the Northern Special Minis. This trip I've been using either the yellows or the whites to really good success. All the colours in the pot work really well though. And yeah, I'm going to get this knocked up, get it back out into that bay, across them reeds. There's still a few fish about, so hopefully we can bag another one. £30 on the button, boy. Absolutely made up with that. Really quick bite after a rechuck. Buzzing. Nice £30 common, £30 on the nose. Takes us up to 6.30s this session, and we've still got another night to go. Absolutely buzzing. I think what I'm going to do, because we've had the majority of the bites from this bay swim, I'm actually going to move my other rods over this side, focus my efforts on this one area, and try and capitalise on the fish being in this small bit of water. Lovely jubbly. Well, we're now coming into what is definitely my favourite time of year. It's early May, the fish are at their biggest weights, we're getting very close to spawning. Everything has come to life. It's just such a perfect time of year to be out. It's also the time of year where new syndicate tickets come up. You get your syndicate tickets through the post. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, although this is my second season on this lake now, on this particular one, I wanted to talk about what I do when I get a new ticket, how I approach the lake, what I do to sort of work it out. I think it's really important that you really understand the venue that you're fishing. It's way too easy just to turn up, flick a couple of rods out and see what happens. I go about it by really trying to understand the fish, looking, really seeing where them fish are, getting up trees, going into every bush, every snag that I can see, and just really understanding what them fish do. And when I say understanding, I mean, not just doing that once and then start fishing. It's, when the weather changes, how do they react to a new wind? And that's different areas of the lake. What do the fish do if it's raining, if it's a really hot day? I mean, I personally work sort of 50, 60-hour weeks as standard, but I still try and make that time to get down to the lake a couple of times a week, especially if there's a new weather front coming in, just to really see what happens. It just prepares you for when you come down for that session. No matter what conditions you've got, you should be able to adapt. You should be able to use your watercraft there and start to understand on that lake where the fish are going to be, what they're going to be doing. You can then adapt your approach to target them that specific way. Going on from there, you can also make it work in your favour. What I mean by that is things like pre-baiting. It's not possible on all syndicates, I understand that, but I think where you can do it, it is a huge edge. I mean, if you can get fish regularly visiting a spot, they start to feel safe, they'll feed on there far more readily. It's just then a case of, turning up to your session, if you've got a regular baiting pattern going on, turning up to your session, small handful of bait, rig on the spot, and it can be guaranteed bites at times. Really big edge. So the mix that I use when I'm pre-baiting and when I'm fishing, it's a mix of quite small items, but I actually use lots of boilie and pellet, but 10mm boilie, crushed 15mm. I use a Pacific tuna on this lake. I use a bloodworm pellet, the 6mm, so I get like a fleck of colour that matches the boilie. And I really like the Bellicon pellet as well, really great smelling pellet. The reason I actually started using the pellet and boilie here, it actually becomes a rule after they spawn. But watching them in the edge, seeing the behaviour of the fish, when that pellet goes in the water, there's a lot of young fish in here, although there are some really old, great originals. The young fish really compete for that pellet. Phil, the fishery owner, actually feeds pellet here as well. And them small food items get some sort of picking and sifting through that really cleans the spots off from a pre-baiting perspective. And I'm a fan of little hook baits anyway, so you know, a little hook bait then when you're fishing, I think it just goes hand in hand. But all in all, do what you're confident in. You know, it's confidence that catches fish. You may find that you may need to make a few little tweaks. You know, you might have one fish and by tweaking you could end up catching 5 fish in a night. You know, you've got to learn along the way, but confidence is key, you know, it really is. And you know, finally, enjoy it. Enjoy being out there, enjoy being at the lake, at the venue. Way too easy to get caught up in the negativity or the carp politics or, you know, whatever's going on and who's caught, and if you haven't caught, leave all of that behind. Enjoy your time on the bank and do it your way. You grab it on the rod. That was bloody savage. Put this rod out tight to the snags, so fishing quite locked up. Had a savage take. Wiped the other rod out. But we're away from the snags now. Oh, I'm shaking. I was speaking earlier about making the most of this bay. Knew the fish were in here. The wind pumping down. So yeah, moved that second rod. Good choice. I'm just going to take it steady with that being such a vicious take and fishing locked up in that snag. Just got to watch that hook hold. Fishing on braid with this rod as well, so just going to take it nice and steady. Oh wow, what a powerful carp this one, jeez. It's tiny. Well, this angry little fella has made me look rather silly. If I'd have lost this, I'd have said it was a mid-30. It pulled. I mean, nearly lost the rod. But yeah, that was on the rod that we moved into this bay. Thought there was going to be another opportunity for an additional fish, and there was. It's a shame it's not 4 times bigger. Still, that was good fun. Great to get a bite on camera. I'm going to slip this one back, get the rods back out. Right, we're just coming into early evening. All had gone quiet. I was just getting some rigs prepped ready for tonight. Then out the blue, that snag rod burst into life. My cup of tea's gone everywhere. Let's hope this is a little bit bigger than that last one from the spot. It's quite hard to tell because I'm fishing it locked up and I'm really having to give it some to get them out the snag. They will end up feeling quite big. We'll see in a second. Again, I'm just taking it really steady because it is hit and hold fishing. I'm always a bit paranoid that because I've had to give it some to get away from the snags, that hook holds, you know, maybe not as good as it could be. Yeah, big odd set of shoulders on it, but big head. A little dumpy body by the look of it. Nice 28 pounder to finish today. Really nice way to end the day. That was a result of that snag rod that went off. Great character. It just shows, moving that extra rod into that bay was a really good decision. We've really capitalised on it. So I caught this over a mix that I'm really confident in. It's a mix that I started fishing last season, which was my first season on the syndicate. It's a really simple mix, but it's one that I'm going to carry on putting in, getting the fish used to it, getting the fish more confident feeding over it. Hopefully have lots more results like this. So we're going into the last night. I've just got the rods back out. It's probably going to be the last time that I put the rods out this trip. I've got to be off fairly early in the morning. I'm feeling confident still though. You never know what might happen. If I don't have any more, I mean, what a session. I'm going to sit back tonight, have some dinner and just reflect. It's not every day you have a session like this. I consider it a real red letter session. So yeah, I'm over the moon with the results. I've had some incredible fish and you never know. We've still got tonight and tomorrow morning, so let's see what happens. So unfortunately there was no more fish last night or this morning. The wind's really pumping in this bay again. It has been now for a couple of days and it's apparent the fish have moved off it. There's been a lot of shows on the back of the wind, but I can't complain. It's been an incredible session. It's been absolutely fantastic. Had loads of fish, some real big uns as well. All that's left for me to do now, get the rest of these rods cranked in, get packed down, hit the road, treat myself to Mackie's breakfast, I think.